I love to play with a band. Yeah, there's nothing like playing with a count in from the drummer, and you go for it, and you can make it as long as you want, and you don't have to start the song and end it and start a new one. You can, if they get up dancing, then you can, at the last minute, you can still like do another verse. So that's what I loved about the band. We used to ride the bikes to get mum's stuff or whatever. We'd always be singing on the bikes, and people would hear us saying, "Oh, they sound good, the three of them, the three harmonies." We'd do all Beach Boys stuff. We'd be singing Beach Boys songs up and down the road. Help me round the hill, just riding up the road. Those sort of things. Yeah, we started bell ringing in the church, and then the vicar said one day, "Mr. Holcombe, your boys, we need a choir." And that was the last thing we wanted to do, us three. We said, "Oh, no, we don't particularly want to do that, Dad, we would ring the bells. It was fun ringing the bells, And then, but the guy said, "Well, what sort of songs do you like to sing?" And we said, "Well, we just mentioned the Beach Boys. So then, well, we like the Beach Boys and the Beatles, stuff like that, And he said, "Okay." So we thought we're not going to sing hymns or anything like that. But he said, "No, you won't be singing hymns. I'm going to try something with you." So he played the keyboard, and then he started to play. Words go. I may not always love you, but as long as the Lord stars, but we're not. That's God only knows, Anyway, who would sing the main line then? Who would be the main line? And Ed, my brother Ed, said, Steve's always the main line of the song. We'd harmonize with it. So we tried it. We never did join the choir, but it was great hearing the church organ playing,
Steve's got this, dare I say, false impression that I can sing. Not true. Not true. So there's no way that I was going to step forward and say, "I'll do the lead, you could do the vocals behind." So it was always going to be Steve. I think by that time he'd already proved himself that if anyone had a voice, it was him. So yeah.
I would have been 14, and we had a really good friend in the village, Billy, and he had a guitar, and I saw the guitar in his house, and I said, "You play?" And he went, "Yeah, I do all Bob Dylan stuff, and I said, "Oh, okay. I want to learn. It's just an interesting looking instrument, and I'd love to learn myself, So, and he said, "Okay, then we'll sit down. I'll show you some chords," and it went from there, basically.
One of Steve's interests then was learning how to play the guitar. So he would be strumming away and trying to sort all that out while I was busy on other things. And the next thing I know, he'd become proficient enough to feel that he could join a band, or because he'd gathered these other mates around that had the same sort of interest. They wanted to do the same, so they formed this little band called the Sioux. And before we knew it, we were visiting the local pubs and whatever to see him perform, as I mentioned, mostly Status Quo covers, which everybody loved because they could all get up and dance about to that sort of thing. And they were a good band then, even.
And we were just talking about Canada. And I said, "Well, what's it really like over there?" It sounds fabulous over what he talked about. He lived in Toronto. So he said, "I'll tell you what, why don't you try it? If you're a young married couple, if you want to try something different, emigrate." Anyway, we were there literally 3 weeks in, and she was always thinking about home and on the phone to her mother, and it was all everything was expensive. So I said, "We can do it once a week. You can call them once a week. Surely it can last, but it didn't. So I saw the dilemma, and I thought, oh, well, it's probably best we go back.
And he was with Kate then, duetting with Kate, and had a good circuit of venues that they were on then, and eventually, as I said, ended up at this hotel called the Webington, and that was quite a sort of prestigious thing then, that you could end up as the resident entertainers up there. So they were doing quite well out of that.
So we were playing as a trio in a club in Bristol. I had a rock band, the Cobblers, but I took the bass player, and we set up a country pop band to play in this restaurant near Bristol. So we were playing there, and then came the scout and said, would you like to come to Spain for the World Cup? You're just what we need. If you come and you stay for nothing, you'll stay in the hotel. You'll be over the hotel is over the club. So he said, you just come to the club. You'll eat at the club for nothing. So it was just too good to be true. For me anyway. And we're just going to sing and play guitars and sing songs. That's all we're going to do. Nothing. It's 3 hours in the evening. I went, the day's yours. You can relax at the pool. Yeah, that's how it was. And we went, it sounds too good to be true, but we'll give it a whirl. Let's give it a whirl. And then we left Bristol. I remember meeting my mother and saying, Mum, I'm going away. Again, she said, you've been to Canada, you've come back, you're going away again. Are you going to live there? I said, well, we're only 2 hours away. Doesn't matter.
Welcome to Malaga Airport.
Well, as it turned out, he didn't show at the airport. So we had no Spanish language. We didn't know how to even ask for a taxi. But somehow we got to Fuengirola, and it was quite late by the time we got here, dark. And we wandered down what they call in Fuengirola now. It was then Sin Alley. We wandered down there and we looked up and we saw it said Scottish bar. We thought, oh, let's just pop in there. At least they're going to speak English of some description. So we went in and we met this lovely couple, and they actually noticed Steve's Ovation guitar. And they sort of said, oh, would you play that? Do you want to sort of have a few beers and give us a song? So that is literally, so we took out the Ovation and we sang away there. And it was just a lovely, lovely evening. And then one of the owners of the Scottish bar said, you know what? There's a fantastic bar on the front. It's called Papillon. Well, meanwhile, during the day, I think Steve and I had actually noticed this place, and we thought, wow, that's utopia. It had a wonderful terrace. The music sounded good. And we thought, well, imagine if we could play somewhere like that. How great. So this person said, why don't you go and see this guy called Giovanni? Because, I think he might be interested in you. And we thought we were a bit humble. We thought, I don't know. A bit sort of scary. So she went to meet him and he said, yeah, send them along. So we went, and I remember being a little bit nervous because the terrace was packed, and he sort of was quite abrupt and said, just stand there, give us a song, let's see how you go. He didn't even listen to us before he popped us on his little stage. We just had to go and do it. And I think we sang Hello Mary Do or something like that, and did our little set that we knew. And that was it. And then he said, okay, thank you, something like that, thank you well, or something like that, or gracias, and that was it. He was quite abrupt. We sort of looked at each other and thought, okay, maybe he didn't like us. But the audience seemed to like us. We had a few claps and shouts. We thought, well, we've done all right.
Thanks, Steve and his wife, Kate. They made Papillon what Papillon has been. No. That's it. Yeah. No, Steve, this is the truth. You build it up. I just give you a hand, but you started with the country and the rock, etc., and all the beautiful American ballads. And I was there with my South American trio, Malaga. But he was the main event. And I used to say, ladies and gentlemen, now coming from Las Vegas, Steve and Kate, here we go. And this every night from about, we used to start at about 10 o'clock, no? Yeah. 10 o'clock until 3:30 in the morning. It was a hard job, We were working very hard.
We had a wonderful life. It was fabulous, We used to pop off to the disco after work, which went on till about 5, 6 in the morning. But we worked hard, and it was full on. And we met some wonderful people.
I wasn't building anymore, so and my money was all via playing music and being a musician down here. So I became professional just with the music, you know. We were working 7 days a week for Giovanni, and I said, well, let's sell the house back home, and with the money, we can hopefully buy something here. So me and my wife, we just agreed to do that. So it was on the market for about 2 years, actually. So we didn't sell it straight away. It wasn't amazing. So we actually worked, once we left UK and cut the cord, and we said, we're not going back, you know. My wife said, well, what are we going to do? We're going to just live off this for the rest of our days? Well, I said, as long as I can, you know, as long as we can. Why not? So, and Giovanni was saying, and to be honest with you, he was paying us handsomely. And he said, what are you doing with your money? And I can be honest with you, all we did was eat, drink, and get drunk and go to discotheques at night. We did.
I don't think that this, you can rebuild it. Lots of people says me today, why don't you start a new pub? You're joking. They would, with the TV, with internet and those things, it wouldn't fit. It's over. C'est triste, mais c'est comme c'est la vie.
I thought love was more or less given. Seems the more I gave, the less I got. Well, what's the use of
Anyway, so I said, well, look, can I borrow some gear and I'll go and play elsewhere in bars, and you know. So he said, take whatever you want. He used to call me Junior. Take whatever you want, Junior. It's yours. So very generous. Giovanni has always been that way with me. And I went, fabulous. Okay, well, we'll do that. So then I took enough equipment to go out and play, and I started playing here in Calahonda, and just going literally walking around the bars saying, do you need an entertainer? But the biggest problem was, because I'd been in one place for so long, then no one knew you know. I got to downgrade myself. You know, come down off my pedestal, because Giovanni put me up there and was paying me handsomely, and Kate, obviously at the time. But we had to come down off it'd all gone sideways. So it was a learning curve, that was. So I started doing things like that, and playing in all little pubs all around, just to support the family, really. And it was a rough time back. That was like in '89, yeah. I go to pubs and go, how much would you pay for an artist, right? So they go, well, I've got the best on the coast, you know, and I go to watch them. He said, I've got the best on the coast, and he charged me 11,000 pesetas. And I go, and I was being paid 15 then in Papillon. So I was thinking, I'm getting 15,000 pesetas a night. That's what I'm going to ask for. That's the common denominator. We're all going, right, we've got to make a living out of it. Let's do it. You know, get into the best place if you can. Puerto Banús, for me, was a farce. You'd think the money that they're charging for drinks, etc., that the artist would be paid, you know, accordingly. But they're the worst. It's probably the worst place to play. It's with cheap cheap and nasty place to play. Dare I say that? Yeah, I am saying that. I played Puerto Banús a couple of times because when you've had the staying power and people say, oh, Papillon's gone, but the guy that played there just opened the pub out on the Paseo. Oh, right. So they came there for 2.5 years. And then you start, your name, without realizing, your name's building up. It's going here, there, everywhere in the papers. At that time, it was only the little local newspapers that we all used to advertise in, or that and flyers that we'd walk on the beach, get the guys to walk on the beach and hand out what's on at the pub. It's the only way you could do it. There was no like mobiles and internet at that time. But it worked.
She said a love like ours would never die.
We started playing at the Chicken Shack as a band to start with. I'd come out of I was still doing all the regulars, like 7 nights a week at the Family Bar and that with Jeff and everybody else. But we had, to be honest with you, the first thing that happened, there was a club called the Algarobo. This is where I got my name. It was a club called the Algarobo. And they said they wanted Jeff and me to go up and play. So I said, okay, we'll come up and play. The organizer, Mike Harvey, rather. So Mike goes, so what's the name of the duo then? I said, well, it's Jeff Guitar Johnson, and I'm Steve, you know. And he went, no, he said, I know you used to be Steve and Kate, and that was your name. It was Steve and Kate. And I went, yeah, but I'm just on my own now. So Steve, it's not good enough, he said. You need a flamboyant name like Jeff Guitar Johnson. So he goes, what is your surname? And I said, it's Holcombe. Holcombe? I went, no, Holcombe. 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 That don't ring, he said. This is how stupid it came. So he said, this is like mid-90s, you know, now. So he's going, no, Steve Nelson. That sounds good, I like that. Jeff Guitar Johnson, Stevie Nelson. Stevie Nelson. Jeff Guitar Johnson, Stevie Nelson. Oh, but I don't care, man, put whatever you want, you know. So it went up on the poster, and went up in the papers. And now, all of a sudden, they found my surname. So they're going, and Stevie Nelson, right? It's no longer Stephen Kate. I've always been a Pink Floyd freak, always. And I just loved their music. I loved Dave Gilmour's guitar style. And despite the fact they're called Layla after Eric Clapton, because that was my favorite rock song of my daughter, anyway. But Dave Gilmour, I just admire the guy. He's a fabulous guitar player and great style. But I went to see this Andy, and he said, do you know any Pink Floyd? And I said, sort of, yeah. And he said, well, do you know Wish You Were Here? Do you know Come to Me Numb? You know this, that, and the other? I'm going, yeah. I've never really played the things, but I know of them, yeah. Well, let's do it. Let's have a go at doing it. So we got together, basically, and rehearsed the things. And then when it was near enough to go out and do it, we just went out and did it. Played it one night live in the pub, and it got a reaction. And just because it was Pink Floyd, there was no one doing Pink Floyd. And so Andy said, let's do a show. we hired we hired the theatre in Fuengirola and did it one night just for the hell of it. We got to post all the publicity put up in it, and it was a full house. And they came in to see us, and we went, "Wow, there's so many Floyd fans around here, you know." And so he said, "Well, let's do it. Let's do it again."
There is moonlight moss in the trees down the 7 bridges road.
Yes, and then people talking about tributes and said, "God, you know, if there was an Eagles tribute band, that'd be something." And I was thinking exactly what I was saying earlier on about who could sing like Randy Meisner. I'm thinking, right? Who could hit them notes? And I thought, man, Simon, maybe, our old bass player. So, and I was, who could play the kit? Michael. With all these other musicians I come across, and so we formed a band. And we said, okay, and we said, fancy doing a tribute band to the Eagles. We'll learn all the big ones. Okay? They all said, yeah, it sounds like a crack. Well, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to do the auditorium.
The Eagles thing, we had that on the back burner for a long time. We should do an Eagles show. We should do an Eagles show. And the Monkey Tennis Band was around at the same time. And we kind of like melted the two bands together to come up with the Desperados Eagles show. Again, it just gelled. We didn't get the longevity out of it that I'd like to have got out of it, simply because there just wasn't enough venues with the capacity to make it a full-on show. And it wasn't something that people would want to go and see every week. You know, it was just a one-off thing. So it kind of like boomed and then went.
And I remember we played Mijas Auditorium, which is a big open-air auditorium. You get, I think it's like 900 to 1,000 capacity up there, so it's quite a big one. For most of us, you know, it's a huge gig. And Steve, I was really surprised. Steve was nervous as hell beforehand, and we set up. We set up and we did our sound check and we got everything right. And Steve, you couldn't speak to Steve because he was just pacing around, and he was. I don't know where he was, but I was really surprised at him because, I mean, he's been doing it for years, and I thought he didn't get affected by nerves in the slightest little bit. But he did, and we were going for something to eat, and I said, "Are you coming for something to eat?" He goes, "No, I can't eat before a gig." And so I remember Baz saying to me, "I think it's better that you just stop talking to him because he's making it worse." It wasn't until the end of the gig, we came off at the end of the gig. We did a good job. I think we mucked up a couple of things to start with, but we got comfortable on the stage and we treated it as a pub gig in the end, as is the best thing to do. And he did a fantastic job. He was great, and he really relaxed as soon as we started. He was relaxed, and he was fantastic. And I remember giving him a hug on the stairs behind the stage afterwards, just going, "See, it was dead easy." And he was delighted. You know, we're going to do some more. We'll do another 20 years.
Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow.
It's about having fun, and that's what Dad's like on stage. So, and that's what he's always been like. It's not about getting up there and being perfect. So he was total inspiration to me, because I was a bit of a rabbit in headlights when I decided to go solo myself, which was about 8 years ago. And it was Dad going, come on, like, I'll, set you up your equipment. And he's, he's always been by my side, like, musically, and he's incredible. And because he's been my inspiration.
Steve, make it up as you go along, Nelson. And I'm coming back in, and here we go again. Here comes the first verse, same as the last verse, just a little bit worse. Yeah, we've done all that with him. As long as I've known him, I've never known him sing the same song the same way every time. Always different. Keeps you on your toes. That's Steve Nelson.
That's what Dad's like at his gigs. When he entertains, he'll just go on and carry on and on and on, like for hours. And he, it's just, he's got some stamina to do that, but people just enjoy it because he loved it so much, because he loves, entertaining, bringing happiness to people, and merriness, like, let's get wrecked, as he used to do, and, salud en toda la fuerza, cuerda vocales para mí, and all that, and everyone, it's just all these extra things.
Just a normal guy. I think so anyway. Maybe find myself a girlfriend. That'd be cool as well. But it's my ambition. I'm going to stay in this beautiful country, and hopefully, who knows, take it up the coast, the trips, and do some trips with all three bands. That would be my ambition. Floyd, the Eagles, and Fleetwood Mac. And it's just, and then probably the same band, and probably all the same guys. So, like I said, I'm very fortunate to have real good musician friends. We've stuck together over the years. So it's, and we've all got our little niches, I think, and they're all great guys, and girls. That would be my my dream retirement years. Yeah?
Ja, goed man.
Is it cool?
Ja,